Well, it's about time we get a little partnership going on around here. Maybe a new alliance, if you will. The ACC is partnering with the CW network to allow for some games to happen. But more than that, we got to talk about a little serious thing because Jim Phillips is in some hot water. And what a perfect time to be in hot water when we're getting ready for ACC Kickoff. Will he answer any of those Northwestern questions?
You are Locked On ACC, your daily podcast on the Atlantic Coast Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's edition of Locked On ACC. I'm your host, Candace Cooper, joined by Kenton Gibbs of Locked On Wolfpack. Each and every day, you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure you download, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit our YouTube channel where you can see our lovely faces. We always appreciate a good subscription. 1,000 followers is good, but 2,000 is always better. We got a lot to go over today. The CW Network partnership, Jim Phillips doing some crazy things in Northwestern in general, just having a time, a little bit of a debacle. We're going to talk about all of that on today's show. Kenton, how are we feeling?
I'm feeling great. I have talked about for the longest how Bally was holding us back. And baby, we have bumped Bally out the way. I'm excited to talk about it on this beautiful day.
You have been very anti-Bally for a good minute now. You are definitely one who says that we should not have our games on the Bally Sports Network. And, Bally's gone through a little bankruptcy. So it kind of helped for us to, part ways or figure something else out. But can you explain to the folks before we get into CW Network, just what was so wrong with Bally Sports?
I mean, Bally Sports, you had to get a separate app that was not available with most other apps and pay a separate subscription price in order to see your team play if you were in many parts of the ACC. That is ridiculous. That is nonsensical. It does not add up, and it is antithetical to any type of success. It is a lot like how we're seeing a certain alleged genius right now who hit people with rate limits for how many things they could look at on his platform when advertising money was how you need to get paid. It was a very similar thing because if you look at how the ACC gets paid, it's very similar from advertising money, from people who say, how many eyes are on the ACC? Okay, great. That's how we're going to determine the pay. And lo and behold, you have this deal here where people can't even get in to see their team play without having to pay $20 more for another subscription when it's like, I already got Netflix, I already got Hulu, I already got HBO Max, I already got ESPN and all this Disney Plus, all that good stuff. And now I got to get Bally on top of it. So, getting rid of Bally, what a relief it is. Oh, what a relief it is. In the words of the Ricola folks, oh, what a relief it is because we needed that one.
So enter Basic Cable Network, the CW. Of those of you who are not familiar, you've seen the CW. Maybe you've watched The Flash. Maybe you've watched America's Next Top Model. What's my other show? Riverdale. What is it on? What was it? Was that the Superman one?
If we want to go even further back, you know what I mean? Smallville.
Okay.
If you want to go further back than that, you got Girlfriends, The Parkers. All those types of things, you know what I mean? It evolved from UPN to then become the CW and all that. They've been out here doing the thing, man. They've been out here. It's been quite a run for the CW. And watch this. I know y'all gonna be excited about this. They're available over the air for most folks. So most of you, if you already got basic cable, chances are you already got them. And because they're over the air, even if you don't have basic cable, in most states, you can get the box that gives you free over-the-air channels. So, CW is one of those. So for a vast majority of the ACC, congratulations, baby. You just got access. You just got the red carpet rolled out for you as opposed to having to go to those streams that's going to have your computer herking and jerking afterwards and trying to watch your game.
UPN definitely had some bops between Moesha, the Parkers, and all those great shows. But let's talk about the fact that CW Network is one that's public. There is a whole station, or if you want to look up what your zip code is, you go to www.cwtv.com/page/stations. You type in your zip code, and they will let you know whether or not you can get it. You can get it on Hulu Live TV as well as YouTube Live TV. I know some of the folks who watch our YouTube faithfully also have YouTube Live, so you can make sure that you get the CW so you can watch your games throughout the season. Now, there will be, starting September 9th, will be the Pitt versus Cincinnati game. There will be 50 Atlantic Coast Conference football and basketball matchups throughout up until the 2026 and 2027 season. So you'll have 13 football games and 28 men's basketball games and 9 women's basketball games. So that's a great start. You know what I mean? Conversations rolling. And we get a familiar friend in Raycom Sports who will be helping with this bad boy. So does this move the needle for all of your ADs who are sitting there saying, where's the money at? We can talk about that in a second, but just to have something else, another resource, what do you think, Kenton, this means for the ACC?
Don't remind me of Raycom coming back. I was so excited about this. Don't remind me.
Swafford's coming back next. You know, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. The way Jim Phillips is going, you might have to have a little resurgence.
I'll tell you what, if Swafford and Raycom come back, that would be the death of this conference. Okay, that would be the nail in the coffin.
He was doing a good thing, Kenton.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did.
With the long contract with ESPN, Swafford thought he was doing a good thing.
I'm sure he did. I'm not talking about the long contract with ESPN. I'm talking about the Raycom deal. I'm talking about the Raycom deal. I'm not mad at the Granite Rice. You did a good thing with the Granite Rice per se. That Raycom
that's tough. That's tough.
What are we doing here?
Yes, but the CW, this partnership, what are we feeling about it?
I feel great about this partnership overall. Again, you had to talk about the Raycom part because that is a part of it, right? That is a part of it legitimately. But what's more important than that is, again, you have increased visibility. That's what this game is all about. That's the name of the game. That's how you want to get this thing rolling. You want visibility. You want people to be able to see their teams and all that good stuff without having to jump through 1,000 hoops to get to them. And so the fact that we have that now, winning. You're doing what you need to do. You're producing good things by having these games, these teams readily available, having marquee games, marquee teams readily available. That's how you do it. You don't just want 1 or 2 games that's on ABC to blow up and have everybody have the opportunity to see it. You want it to be able to, oh man, wait a minute. Pitt and Boston College are close right now. That game is it's a shootout right now. Let me turn to it. Right. Oh man, NC State and Wake Forest are having a tough. You want to be able to turn to your local channel and see that, not say, all right, honey, let's go ahead and download this new app and put a card on it for the 7-day subscription. But remember to cancel on Friday because we don't want it next Saturday because our game ain't going to be, you don't want that.
100%. I mean, I'm excited about CW. I think it's a great opportunity. My biggest thing is just who's going to be on the call for those games. That's what makes me a little bit nervous because, CW, are you giving me Riverdale? Are you giving me Moesha? Like, who is going to be your A-list stars when it comes to calling these games?
I don't care who calls the games. And I'll tell you what.
I care.
I think most of the ACC fans don't care. I don't think they care.
The way ESPN, the way ACC fans put the plugs in their ears every time certain people are on ACC basketball calls.
And here's why I say that.
Yeah.
Those people feel that way about ACC basketball because it is readily available.
That's fair.
At the end of the day, it's all about comparison levels. When you have, if you give a person who is, like, oh, my dad founded the Lehman Brothers. If you get them a $100,000 a year salary, they crying, throwing up and shaking. But if you give somebody who grew up in the middle of the Mississippi Delta Valley and just as dirt poor as they want to be, that $100,000 a year salary, they're going to celebrate like they just hit the lottery or something. And that's how I look at us ACC fans who like football as the Mississippi Delta Valley folks, because we had nothing. We had Bally Sports. We had, oh, man, you got to have at least 6 cards during the season to go ahead and rotate every week to hope that you get your team. And, yeah, I got to remember to cancel that subscription because I don't actually want to be subscribed to Bally. I just want to see my team play this Saturday. It's an improvement. It's an improvement at the end of the day.
So are you saying that we should just be happy with the bare minimum?
Yes, for now.
Okay.
For now. Of
3
course,
years.
you want it to get better. You want what I love to see them come in with color commentators. And by the way, CW, if y'all need somebody, I'm available.
Okay.
Get me on the horn. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I know ball. I can tell you what's going on there. But in all seriousness, this is a moment where you look up and you say, what were we getting before? Rolling blackouts, entire areas where teams were playing that just weren't covered and all that good stuff. And you have your team on TV, period. That's what you got. If you got to turn down the volume and, play your favorite music or play the fight song every time your team scores, then feel free to do that. But the reality is we have these games on TV now.
Yeah, that's very fair. All right, let's talk about our friends over at LinkedIn. We are always helpful and excited when our partners are coming in and wanting to be thrilled about what's upcoming for them in their lives. These days, every new potential hire can feel like high. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Why didn't you say something the entire time I wasn't talking?
Oh, it was in the middle of the ad read when your sounds appeared to cut off there. So.
Oh my gosh.
I thought it was my headphones or something. That's why I left and came back. I'm like, oh no, my Wi-Fi is failing me again.
I didn't even know you left because I'm trying to read the read.
I got you. I understand.
This is real live. Y'all thought this was a game. Did you hear the rest of my LinkedIn jobs helped you find the fastest qualified candidates?
I hope they did. And I'll tell you this much. I don't stand beside every product all the time, but LinkedIn Jobs is one that, as a recruiter, I've used myself. I've used their free job posters myself to get some very qualified candidates. And I actually have landed an actual real life hire, by the way, through LinkedIn Jobs free posting. So just a quick thought there on, I can swear by this product because I've used it in my real life, and it has meant a great deal to me and some of the small companies that I work for in hiring. So, LinkedIn Jobs really is where it's at.
Save us, Ken. Definitely save us. All right. CW Network partnership is for the ACC. We're excited about it. We're excited for what will be the men's basketball. We have a slew of games as well as women's basketball. So we have a home, we have a network everyone can go. We don't have as many issues as we did when we first were getting ACC network, period. A lot of folks are feeling away. We definitely are going to have a new slate of hosts this coming fall because we know that ESPN went through their whole big layoffs. And so we'll see some new faces or maybe people picking up slack. So that'll be interesting to see. But, as a whole, I just feel like ACC network doesn't move the needle. There's still just so much work to be done in being a powerful network and being an interesting network. And I think it definitely starts with the host. I think it also starts with the kind of content we're trying to make. I just feel like it needs to be a little more engaging and, thought-provoking, exciting, feeling your favorite adjective. We got work to do.
I mean, so if the question is, does it move the needle? Yes. Moving the needle from 0 to 1 is still moving the needle, even if your goal is to get to 10.
Slow motion is better than no motion.
Exactly. I too have a list of complaints for the ACC and their coverage. For example, you need to show all your teams love, regardless of who gets the most engagement or whatever. You need to show all of them love when there is achievement or good things happening in that regard. And like you said, some of those personalities that are on air, let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation. Let's get some let's kind of work on it. They're doing that full time. We're doing this for about $250 a month. Never mind, we're not going there. But the reality is very simple here. You're absolutely right that there are many problems with the ACC and all that, but this is realistically a moment where they're moving in the right direction, and you can never be upset about a conference moving in the right direction. You know what I mean? Like, can you criticize the fact that we should have never been in the wrong direction to begin with? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Can you criticize the fact that we've fallen behind some other Power 5 conferences? Absolutely. But to say like, oh, I'm going to criticize this move because it helps us catch up and it doesn't help us catch up enough, that's kind of unfair to me.
1,000% agree. All right, let's switch gears here a little bit. We've got to talk through some things that are also happening On our side of the business, Commissioner Jim Phillips is going through a little bit of turbulence. He has been named as a defendant in some of these Northwestern lawsuits. And so, Kitten, if you can give us an overview of just the Northwestern issue, what's going on and how does it affect Jim Phillips?
Okay, let me say this now, because I am a person that is good at not getting sued. These are all allegations.
100%.
All of these things happened allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, what is being alleged that has gone down at Northwestern is players were involved in a very sexually charged hazing, some very sexually charged hazing rituals, which coaches knew about and did not act on. Allegedly, there was also an environment of racism that was fostered there that was very problematic, that went unaddressed. Along with these players reporting these things and having nothing done about them. So, that's what's being alleged, and it is allegedly stretching as high as Jim Phillips, which is why he has been named in 2 lawsuits so far at the time of recording this. There probably will be more by the time you hear this, as those things are popping up like fireworks right now, but that's just what we have going on at the moment. Some sexually charged hazing, some allegations of racism, some allegations that these things were taken to the higher ups, the coaches, the admins, etc., and nothing was done about it. Again, all of these things are allegations. We are not saying that we have certified, verifiable, slam dunk proof. We are not saying that. I'm just telling you what's being reported, and I'm telling you the reasonings that Northwestern decided to part ways with Pat Fitzgerald and whatnot. And why Jim Phillips is being named as a part of certain lawsuits.
And Jim Phillips is a former athletic director at Northwestern.
He was the athletic director at Northwestern while these things were going on. So that is why he ties into this.
Now, as someone who, we're just talking openly amongst friends here, if it's getting all the way up to the AD, do you feel like there's something in the water, there's blood in the water for him to have, taken this great opportunity to be our commissioner, but maybe he knew something stunk. And he knew he had to get out of Dodge.
I mean, it's possible. It's possible. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know what's going on in Phillips' head and why things happen the way they do, because this isn't a lateral move, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like if I was to become, if I was to go from a senior recruiter to a head of talent, nobody's going to ask like, hey, did you leave that last job because things were going wrong? It's a step up.
Right.
However, there is also the possibility that, again, allegedly, these things were happening, and he knew that the posse was going to close in at some point in time and said, I got to get the heck up out of Dodge while I can, and took the opportunity to do so in coming to the ACC.
Well, chicken definitely is coming home to roost, and I think that ultimately, if there is, truth to his involvement or knowing about it, what did we say is our famous phrase around here? If you're coaching it and allowing it, what did you say that you said about Mario the other day?
Everything that happens in my locker room and in my program, either I am coaching it to happen or I'm allowing it to happen.
And I feel like at your university, there's just, to me, personal opinion, there's just no way that there have been these types of, sensational allegations made, and you just had no inkling, especially for a program like football. Well, there's certain things that you can get away with. Not even get away with certain things that maybe skirt under the rug a little bit longer from other sports, but football just doesn't feel like one of them to me.
I'll tell you, I don't even think it's about the sport so much as what's allegedly happening. Yeah. This ain't the 70s anymore. You can't get rid of stuff like this. This isn't the type of stuff where it's like, oh man, this is being alleged, but nobody has. Everybody has phones with cameras, with all the things. Everybody, if you're in danger, you're never more than 5 feet away from a magical recording device.
Let's not talk about being in danger, Carly. All right.
Wow.
Sorry.
You're never.
I'm sorry. Because it's not funny.
You're never too far away from a recording device. So if these types of things are going on, and even not even talk about recording devices, most buildings, most facilities have cameras everywhere now. Yeah. Everywhere. Blind spots are very limited. So if you are participating in these types of things in the year of our Lord and Savior, 2023, I just asked, Why?
Right.
You're going to get caught.
Yeah.
You're going to get caught. All of it. All of you are going to get caught. We saw with Anthony Davis and what happened at Kentucky. That was on video. We saw Jalen Green and his homeboy. That was on video. We've seen these things now where people, again, this doesn't have video to it. But if folks are getting fired and these are lawsuits are being made, again, these things are all alleged. But I'm pretty sure somebody got some proof of something that's going on somewhere.
Where there's smoke, there has to be fire. I feel like, to round this conversation, sort of what are next steps? Do I want my commissioner to be someone who allowed these things to happen and did nothing? Do I really want my commissioner to be someone who is about to get up on the podium next week and defer and plead the fifth, and there's a criminal investigation at this time?
It's a criminal investigation. I can't speak on it at this time. Right?
It's coming, but I think once it all does come out in the wash, does he relieve himself of being our commissioner?
It depends. It depends. I hate to go with the lawyer answer of like, it depends, but it really does depend in this situation because.
But baby, these ain't adult diapers. This is some serious stuff. I'm good today.
It depends on how bad things were and how much he knew.
Yeah.
Because yes, we all do the lack of institutional control thing these days and all that, but there is a certain degree of separation, right? Because like, how high does it go up? Do you get rid of the chancellor as well? Do you get rid of the dean and all that as well? Like, how high up do you go to say like, all right, this bad thing was happening over here, so now we need to get rid of everybody? You know what I mean? And a case that I'm not saying it was similar, but it was kind of in this vein of completely off field, off court, off mat stuff we saw with Larry Nassar in Michigan State. When folks there were multiple people fired, there were multiple lawsuits and all that, but it was all about people who knew, people who either knew or it was their job to know directly, like, hey, I don't have multiple liaisons between me and this. I don't have multiple degrees of separation. And so, Phillips, I don't think has enough degrees of separation to get away from this if he was told. But if he wasn't told, I think because you have the head coach who should be the buffer, who is the end all be all, and even between the head coach, you have the assistant AD and all that, he may be able to get away from this one scotch-free. It all depends on how much actually was done and how much he knew about.
That's true. When I think about allegations, think about scandal, you really can point to North Carolina and ACC schools since we're talking about and making comparisons, right? Roy Williams ended up not getting in much trouble, and then, Bubba's not getting fired off of it. So it really just how much blame and ownership can be had when it's all said and done, right? There's clearly certain people who were in on it, shaking hands, doing all the things. And then as you matriculate it up, people say they don't know, but do they really not know? It remains to be seen.
That is, that's very true. It's like you said, it remains to be seen. And, I truly hope that Jim Phillips is a man of enough character to not have known about these types of things and still have been like, because, I'm a very proud member of my fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi, played on multiple teams, 17 years of football, played on a ton of teams and everybody has their different things and all that and whatnot. But hazing, especially hazing of any type of
assault,
a sexual assault or anything along those types of variety. What are you doing, man? What are you doing?
You're losing the plot a little bit.
What part of that fosters brotherhood? What part of that fosters a team environment? What part of that fosters collaboration? What are we doing here?
Yeah. 100% agree. I think there's more to it. There are, of course, more that will come out as the story, comes to pass. And I think that, he'll have to make some decisions and answer for their certain decisions of sure to be a clean, fluffy script. He is good at them fluffy quotes. He is great at dodging questions and all the things. So maybe we'll hear more answers, but I am very interested to see who asked the question. Okay. When we get to next Tuesday.
Yeah, we'll
There's
see.
Gonna be one.
There's gonna be one. And CD in the chat, we still love you, even though you made the wrong decision. But with that being said, I don't think anybody. I think somebody's gonna ask the question because you kind of got to it. I think we know what he's gonna say. This is a criminal investigation, and my my counsel has advised me not to speak on the matter, or I legally can't speak on the matter. And that's
the
going to be
ongoing criminal investigation.
Exactly.
Take a shot every time he says that.
Yeah. Well, we don't want the folks to get alcohol poisoned, but also I don't think that there's going to be. I'm going to tell you this: generally, the higher somebody is up, the more power they have, the less likely folks are to really press them.
It starts to get a little Teflon.
Yeah. If it was a player that was facing these allegations, oh boy, from the time he show up to that podium to the time he leave. So did you do it? What'd you do to those freshmen in that locker room? Why did you let them say the hard R? What's going on here? You know, they.
So when I ask the cilantro questions, I get the big eyes and judgment. But when these folks ask the hard questions, it's like, I mean, this is just the nature of the beast. So which one is it?
I mean, listen, I think that everybody needs the space to ask their cilantro questions. I actually wish that more people ask cilantro questions, and I wish that the coaches and players answer them more honestly. But in the world we live in, it's not really much use to giving those real spicy questions to a lot of these folks, because they're just going to go with a real piece. Oh, yeah, you know, we try our best. We do our best. We show up and give everything we can. And, you know, we leave it all from there. You know, as long as we show up and try our best, that's all we got.
Give me a spicy quote. Give me some sensation. That's all I ask for. And at the end of the day, this sort of moves away from our biggest issue ending in this show, talking about CW Network, with how are we going to get more money to these schools so they don't leave us, right? It's kind of quieted about that, but I feel as if this little Northwestern debacle has certainly allowed for space to avoid and dodge those questions.
This is a bad diversion, ain't it? Normally,
terrible diversion.
A diversion is supposed to be like something that's like, look at this thing. This is cool going on over here. Like, this is shiny. This is a rabid wolf in the building. Like, that's not the distraction you want, because some heads may roll. Some people may not make it out of that building with the wolf there. So, you know, this is. I'm sure if Jim Phillips had his way, this wouldn't be the distraction. But right. I'm also sure that this CW network deal is going to bring in more revenue, and you know. I'm not saying everybody's going to be happy and everybody's going to be one big happy family, but I think it cools the waters a little bit in terms of teams wanting to leave.
Definitely agree. All right, guys, that's all the time we have for today, but make sure you come back tomorrow as we'll talk through more ACC kickoff preparation. Want to make sure you're squared away, ready to go. We want you to know about who the best teams are, questions that you might need to ask. We went over a whole really great episode yesterday where Kenton played the side of being ones who answered questions, so make sure you check that out. Give us a subscription. Look towards all of our friends at Locked On Podcast Network, especially our ACC schools. And, you know, until next time.